Chapter 1. The Bar. In City A, it had been raining for several days, but today the sky finally cleared. Xiao Naitong woke up due to a cough. He rubbed his eyes and noticed the sunlight peeking through the drawn curtains. He thought for a moment and then lay back down. Naitong, his roommate, Shu Liang, called his name tentatively. There was no response. Shu Liang sighed softly and said, "You shouldn't joke with your health. How about eating something?" "I'm fine." Xiao Naitong's voice sounded hoarse, likely because he had been feeling down lately and often recalled past events. "Who would believe that?" Shu Liang muttered. "She's already found someone new. What's the point of you being like this alone?" At the mention of she, Xiao Naitong's eyes reddened instantly. He pulled the covers over himself, secretly rubbed his eyes, and couldn't stop his body from trembling. "It's time to move on," Shu Liang said gently. "It's been 2 months. You should get some exercise." I, I'm fine." Xiao Naitong choked out. "Really? Clearly, you're not over it." Shu Liang felt that if this continued, Xiao Naitong's health would suffer. Xiao Naitong had always been thin and frail, and over the past month, Shu Liang noticed that the boy in bed had grown even thinner. "It's not that I'm forcing you, but Su Qinshi had a new boyfriend the day after breaking up with you." Shu Liang knew he was rubbing salt in the wound, but it was the harsh reality. "You were cheated on, and you're still holding on to everything about her?"
Smack.
A pillow hit him squarely, followed by the sound of sobbing. Shu Liang shook his head helplessly, picked up the pillow, and set it aside. Xiao Naitong, hidden under the covers, recalled that night again. "Let's break up," Su Qinshi had said with a smile. He stood there, stunned, the gift in his hand dropping to the ground. The ring meant for her rolled out of its box. Su Qinshi picked up the ring, put it back in the box, and said with a smile, "Naitong, I'm sorry. You can't give me what I want. We've grown up, and you're not suitable for me." "Qinshi," he grabbed her hand, his eyes red, unwilling to let her go. "Don't be like this." Su Qinshi was annoyed, shaking off his hand. "I can't stand this about you. Crying at the drop of a hat. Are you even a man?" Xiao Naitong let go of her hand, trying hard to smile and look better, but before he could speak, Su Qinshi continued, "I'm no longer the little girl who only likes cute things. Qinshi, I really like you. We've been together since middle school, and there's only 1 year until graduation. That's why I can't waste any more time." Su Qinshi interrupted, "Let's part ways on good terms." She stuffed the gift box into his hand, squeezed it tightly, and with a choked voice said, "I'm sorry. I don't like you anymore." Then Su Qinshi left. A man picked her up in a Mercedes. She sat in the car, chatting and laughing with the man, disappearing from his blurred view. Xiao Naitong never contacted Su Qinshi again. After all, he couldn't stop her from seeking a better life, right? He took a deep breath, telling himself it was fine. Su Qinshi didn't dislike him. She just chose a better future. But thinking this way made him feel even worse. He realized he had never considered the future. He didn't even know what Su Qinshi wanted. He felt utterly useless. That evening, the other two roommates in room A823 returned, shaking their heads at the sight of Xiao Naitong lying in bed. "Naitong, want to go to the bar?" Shu Liang, probably the most fearless one, called out, "We've got some pretty girls from the English department joining us." Xiao Naitong didn't respond. Shu Liang thought they were out of luck again and was about to call the girls to cancel when Xiao Naitong spoke up. "Let's go." "I'll change clothes," Xiao Naitong said softly, climbing out of bed. The three roommates were shocked and quickly got ready. Xiao Naitong washed his face and noticed his eyes were swollen from crying when he looked in the mirror. He had always been a crier since childhood, but rarely cried loudly as a boy. He would cry secretly, never daring to make a sound. "Let's go." He put on a clean white t-shirt, changed into black shorts, and put on a hat before heading out. Shu Liang put an arm around his shoulders and said, "Let's go to the bar and dance away all the unhappiness." "Okay." Xiao Naitong smiled, agreeing to leave all the unhappiness behind. Sukai was dragged to this place by his roommates, saying they needed more people for the mixer. As soon as they arrived, all the girls surrounded him. One after another, They tried to drag him to the dance floor. He felt extremely uncomfortable but couldn't leave. "Won't you drink, Kai?" A senior girl leaned in, pressing her chest against him. He instinctively leaned away, feeling uncomfortable. No, Sukai didn't know where to put his hands, so he tried to move away, only for another girl to lean in. "What kind of girl do you like, Kai?" Sukai frowned and said, "I don't like girls." His words made the room fall silent for a moment, with everyone staring at him in surprise. Then Sukai stood up and walked towards the bathroom. He must be joking. The two women who had been sitting beside him quickly formed an alliance, determined to find out if he was gay. Definitely, another girl agreed. The brief peace was gone, and Sukai wanted to go back to his dorm. He planned to leave after using the bathroom, but as he walked out, he saw one of the girls from the party. She seemed unwilling to give up on getting his number. Sukai rubbed his temples, feeling he had no choice but to knock her out and leave. Just as he was about to act, a boy suddenly bumped into him, falling into his arms. He instinctively caught the boy, feeling confused. Sorry. Sukai found the voice soft and cute, so he instinctively held the boy closer. Looking down, he noticed the boy was quite attractive. Ugh. The sudden retching sound stained Sukai's clothes. The unexpected turn of events left Sukai stunned. He quickly helped the boy and took the opportunity to leave the bar, having found an excuse to go home. Chapter 2. The Mixer. Kai Senpai. The girl at the door called his name. "I'm leaving," Sukai said coldly. "My clothes are dirty." "I'll go with you," the girl offered enthusiastically, but Sukai hated clingy people. He frowned and said, "I don't like girls." The girl smiled warmly. "Senpai, stop joking. What kind of girl do you like?" Sukai didn't answer. He had already taken off his jacket and thrown it aside. He helped the boy who had vomited on him and said, "Someone like him?" The girl was stunned, looking at the drunk boy, unable to say anything. Sukai sneered and said, "Tonight's encounter." Sukai helped the drunk boy out of the bar and hailed a cab, feeling exhausted. "Where to?" the cab driver asked. Looking back at Sukai. Sukai looked at the boy beside him, who was still unconscious and sleeping soundly. He reached out to check the boy's pockets and found a phone, but it was locked. He remembered he could use the boy's fingerprint to unlock it, so he grabbed the boy's hand. The boy's fingers were long and slender, with pale skin. Sukai felt that the boy was thin, almost all bones. He looked at the boy's face, noticing the flushed cheeks and long eyelashes, which were quite beautiful. "Like a girl," Sukai muttered, unlocking the phone. He found the wallpaper to be a picture of a girl next to himself. So he had a girlfriend. Huh? But he drank so much. Wasn't he afraid his girlfriend would find out? Sukai scrolled through the contacts and found only a few numbers. He didn't dare call the boy's family and couldn't find any contacts resembling a girl's name. So he decided to call a friend. Shu Liang hurriedly arrived at road number 3 and saw his friend, Naitong. "Xiao Naitong." Shu Liang shouted from a distance, startling Sukai. "Little milk candy?" Sukai looked at the boy in his arms. "What a cute nickname. I'm sorry." Shu Liang quickly came over to help. "Naitong has been..." "Wait, Sukai. You know me?" Sukai asked Shu Liang. "We go to the same school. You're famous," Shu Liang said, not caring much about the situation. "Help me take him back." At 8:23, he has the key in his pocket. What? Sukai hadn't even figured out what was going on when Shu Liang waved and left, apparently in a hurry. Sukai looked at the boy in his arms. It was tiring to hold him, especially since Sukai was about 1.9 meters tall, while Xiao Naitong seemed to be around 1.7 meters. He hesitated for a moment before picking Xiao Naitong up. Xiao Naitong was light, like holding a small girl. "Chenchi," the boy muttered, confusing Sukai. "Don't break up." Sukai heard him clearly and suddenly didn't want to move. He placed Xiao Naitong on the ground, feeling annoyed. Why was he doing this? Sukai hated trouble, which was one reason people thought he was cold. He often refused and pretended not to know things to avoid hassle. "I really like you." Xiao Naitong sat on the ground and suddenly started crying. Su Kaiyi didn't know what to do. He had never been in a breakup and didn't understand this feeling. He had never deeply loved anyone and had always passively accepted relationships. But seeing Xiao Naitong cry, he felt a pang of sadness. Don't cry. Su Kaiyi gently patted his head. I'll take you home. Okay. Xiao Naitong was truly drunk and didn't know who the other person was. But he felt that this person was good to him, so he obeyed whatever was said. He sat on the ground, using his dirty hands to wipe his eyes. Go home. Su Kaiyi watched him, finding him cute. He took out a pack of tissues from his pocket and wiped the boy's eyes and hands. Then he pulled Xiao Naitong up. Can you walk? Can't walk. Xiao Naitong stood up, but almost fell after a few steps. Fortunately, Su Kaiyi caught him. Forget it, forget it. I won't make you do it. Su Kaiyi felt he had enough fun with the drunk boy and decided not to tease him further. He helped him walk back to the dorm. A823 specifically referred to Building A11, known as the best dorm building in the university. All students knew that Axe meant Building A11. Using the boy's key, they entered the dorm. Su Kaiyi didn't know which bed belonged to Xiao Naitong, so he looked around. Maybe it was intuition, but he felt that the innermost bed with a small dinosaur was his. Sigh. Su Kaiyi sighed deeply, not knowing how to get him into bed. Can you climb the ladder? Su Kaiyi asked. Xiao Naitong sighed and reached out to grab the ladder, slowly climbing up. Su Kaiyi watched his movements, standing below with his hands out, ready to catch him if he fell. But Xiao Naitong managed to climb up, and soon there was no sound. It was over just like that. Su Kaiyi checked the time. 1:17 a.m., feeling exhausted. His dorm was also in this building, just 2 floors up. As he was leaving, he glanced at Xiao Naitong's desk. Xiao Naitong's desk was neat, everything organized. He saw some photos pinned up, and with a quick glance, he noticed pictures of Xiao Naitong with a girl. Qianxi. He repeated the name. He didn't like the girl for some reason. As he stepped out, he saw Xu Liang helping another boy back. Xu Liang immediately thanked him. Is there one missing? There were 4 people in the dorm, but they were only 3. He went to a mixer. Xu Liang smiled. It's late. Why don't you rest here tonight? We have an empty bed. Isn't that a bit much? Su Kaiyi hesitated. If he went back, no one would open the door for him since he had lost his key in his jacket. Not at all. You saved us. Come on in.